There you go. Mm-mm. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? I told y'all, man. Every Sunday, I'm getting y'all right. As promised. Mm, Every Sunday. I'm gonna give a couple more people to join first before I actually get started. Yeah, I know what I just realized. I need to bring this screen over here. Oh, wait, no, how everybody's Sunday going? Let me know. Let me know. Me, I had to recover from last night. I'm like, you know what? Woke up today. Right on that trail, man, boy. Get right back to it. Start running my miles. I think this whole month I'm gonna focus on doing like working on 1 mile a day, and then after 1 mile, go ahead and up it to 2. I probably won't transition back into 2 miles until probably I probably say like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. About to take my cardio to a whole other level. Y'all not even ready. All right. I've been waiting to get this live ready for so long. I haven't even been on my phone this entire time. Hold on. Why are you tripping? Thank you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Not really. As y'all can see, I'm gonna start off. We're gonna talk about the news first, because news is like obviously part of what we're gonna be focusing on this week. But of course, y'all know if you watch my last reel, I was basically telling y'all that I really don't not really too much of a fan of news. I pay attention to news. I let it react or let it come out first, and then after that, what's going on, Mo? After that, I let it do its thing. Let me actually drop this in here. Yeah. I need to actually go back and rewatch that full video because I have not been. I ain't watching myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and make sure I watch it too. just cause I'm like giving out too much game. Well, technically I ain't giving out game to y'all. Y'all in my academy. But the stuff I was talking about, I was like, yeah, one of them ones. Then I could be biased. Though. I feel that way about every video I drop. Yeah. All right, we about to get this call started though. I got a couple meetings I gotta do right after this live too. So I'm like, let me lock in, get y'all right first for the night. Then I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna start adding the I'm gonna start adding like a quick banner. You know how like some people have like those I did this so backwards, I just realized that. Some people start their videos off like with like a disclaimer and then the whole shebang thing. I seen it, I was like, you know what? I like how that look. I'm gonna do something similar. So that way, like when I'm doing like little stuff like this on the side, y'all ain't gotta just sit here and wait for me. Okay, there you go. Ooh. And last but not least. While we waiting though, let me know y'all bias. What y'all thinking? Are we bullish this week? Are we bearish? Do we think it's gonna be a week of choppiness? Let me know what y'all thinking. I haven't even looked at the charts yet. So if you already, well, I guess if you already looked at the charts, y'all can still be biased. Y'all can still let me know what y'all think. Like I haven't even after Thursday Tokyo session, I took buys on NAS. And of course it smacked to hit TP. And after that, Friday, I looked one last time, like still was doing the same thing I wanted to see, but I'm like, I'm done for the day. I'm not even gonna trade it. And I have not been on the charts. Let me know. Let me know. Are y'all bullish? Or are y'all bearish? Actually, I can just do this. I ain't even gotta do all that. The more I go live, the more I'm gonna start getting used to how to do the boom. All right, I just did a poll. Bearish, man. This John can't just keep fair. Fair. But what if it do? What if it do just keep going for higher highs and higher lows? That's fair though. Bet. I'm gonna let that poll run the whole live and ask people coming in and leaving. We'll see what y'all saying at the end. And then I will give y'all my 2 cents. Let y'all see what I'm thinking. My thing is though, like with the markets, the way it's been acting, the biggest thing I'll say is everybody want the sales to happen. I think that's why it's still buying. So it's like as long as we're not thirsty for the sales and actually let the sales happen, then we'll be good. I feel like when you get caught up like, oh, it's like it gotta sell there or when it's supposed to sell there, I think that's when it makes it a little bit challenging a little bit just to see. All right, let's get into it. Bet. All right, so once again, welcome to another Sunday market outlook. Today we're just going through the market, seeing like overall analysis of what I want to look for the week, and then as well as we're gonna look, as you can see on the screen, we're gonna look at the different news that's coming out this week that could potentially affect the markets or not affect the markets at all. Yeah. So without further ado, let's hop right into this. Let me drink some water first. The pairs I'm gonna be going over is just our indices / features. But if y'all want, let me know what pair y'all want me to look at. I don't really do currencies anymore, but I'll go over. I'm trying to think what else. Gold, and then honestly, I might throw some crypto in there too. It's been a minute since I did like crypto breakdowns. Just let me know, then we'll get into it. All right, so Monday, no news as far as like for the U.S. besides this right here. But I'm not really paying attention to this because one, it's at 12 o'clock. We should already be done for the day trading. Because we trade in New York. So New York, we trade dang that rate at the opening bell. Between opening bell to 11 a.m., we should already be in the trade making our money. But let's say you're somebody that's like, oh, I want to trade a little in the evening, then cool. You just know she's speaking. It might just be like a speaker. Yeah, speaking about monetary policies at the economic club. So I don't know nothing about this. But if I wanted to trade, I would just wait till after 12, probably like around 1, 2-ish, and then I'll be back looking on the charts for this. But for me, Monday, I'm really just expecting it to really be like a slow or chill day for the continuation. Or I got to look at the charts first, and then we'll know for sure. But I'm expecting Monday to like really just be like a more so kind of like a one-directional day. Tuesday, we have news for the GBP. So this is going to be good for our Germany 40 pair. And that's going to be flash manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI. Like this, the same news that we love to see on our US pair. Okay, and then we can see it's happening right here. The same thing that we love to see here is the same thing that we're seeing for the US as well. So like for the Germany 40, 4:30 a.m. in the morning, going to be a good day to trade for London session. And then Tuesday should be a pretty big day in the market because I love not this news. This one is, and like the CPI, PPI news are like my top favorite news to trade because of how much volatility that comes into the charts, as well as well, I guess volatility, same thing. Volatility and just opportunity, multiple opportunities to catch trades. So if you don't catch the first one, cool, you can catch the second one. If you don't catch the second one, cool, you can catch the third one. After that, you better transition to scalping because it probably might just stay in one direction for the rest of the day. But Tuesday for sure, flash manufacturing, and then Powell speaking, that's 12:35. So that's kind of gonna make it a little interesting. I could see like this day in particular, and it's today we're gonna be on a live call too, so that's gonna be perfect. But this day I probably will either take trades early on NOS 100. So I'll probably be in there probably like around 8:30, 9 a.m. and probably will be done trading NOS for the day after that point until after 10 a.m. And then after 10 a.m., once this news drop, then I'll look to start trading US 30. But I'm thinking just based off of it, we're gonna see how the price action is looking. It's either gonna be a day of it's gonna be moving like butter, or it's gonna be petty and just gonna be consolidated and moving slow just because Powell is due to speak at 12:35. So Tuesday might end up being a slow day on the call, depending on what we see, or we're either gonna see it just get to taking off crazy, and then we're done for the day then. And then afternoon, once again, once Powell speak, is gonna be another opportunity to like taking advantage of how the market's looking at that point too. That's gonna be fire. Wednesday, one news, cool. 10 a.m. news, great, great. Why my voice just crack like that? Why? Every time I'm on the live, I feel like my voice be cracking, man. But Wednesday, 10 a.m. news should be pretty smooth as well. Literally, this probably be a day I wait for after 10 again. Just let this news come out. After that, we chilling. The reason, like, the biggest reason why, like, I always wait till around like 9:45, 10ish is just because I kind of want to see, like after 10, there shouldn't be no news, or there shouldn't be nothing throwing the market off at all. So like if you're entering early, there's a chance that news can go the opposite of the way you want to trade, or it can go for the continuation of the way you want it to go trade, but it's still like a 50-50 chance. I'd rather just kind of like unless my setups, like the main setups that I take every single day that I see, unless those setups present itself, I'm not gonna take it before 10. I'm gonna just wait until the news drop, and then we'll just adjust from there based off of like what we see. And then Thursday we have final GDP and unemployment claims, but really it's all of this. All of this is all in one. So it's if it comes out mixed, we're gonna be looking for the continuation for whichever way the trend is going by Thursday. But 8:30 a.m. is still gonna be right before our call, so we're not gonna be worrying about that. And then 10 a.m. is gonna drop. So the Thursday call, actually probably Tuesday and Thursday. Dang. Tuesday and Thursday, we're probably gonna be looking to trade later into the call, and probably will be just waiting more so in the beginning of the call just to make sure the market is setting us up right. And then Friday, same thing. Really, this whole week, Dan, there could be a after 10 a.m. type of trading day. Now that I'm actually looking at it. So obviously, we're gonna let this come out, and then just let the UFM consumer sentiment come out, and then it still should be a pretty smooth price section. I never stayed this long on the fundamental side of this, but I do want to make sure I start like showing y'all, especially because like as you can see, this is really a heavy week on the charts in regards to like what last week like this too. Last week it was one of the weeks it was like really not. So like yeah, a day like a week like this where Monday and Tuesday was nothing, and then it just came Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This week is more so kind of like spread it out as far as Monday something, Tuesday something, Wednesday something. Every single day it's an opportunity for news to play a factor in how we're gonna be looking. Now, enough of the fundamental. Let's get into the technical. Let's get into our pairs, man. All right. We're gonna start it off right with US 30. And then actually 1 second, y'all. Looking at this already, I see a setup for tonight too. And it don't make no sense. It's like I've been conditioned to like see the charts so much lately that it's just I take one look at the charts and I'm already like, oh yeah, I see something. All right, so starting off with US 30, I'm gonna get rid of everything. I always start with the my charts off with like nothing, just so I can see like an overall picture of what I want to see. Overall, I see we have a our high, right? I'm marking up my zones. Boom, we got our high. We have our technically the real low is all the way down here, but for right now I'm gonna just set it to kind of like to the close of this kind of stick, and then as you can see here, this is the close, and then you can see here this is the wick. So this is gonna be like our main range for the week as of right now, and we're at our high. As I drop down now to my 15-minute time frame, 15 1 hour time frame, what I see now is our mini stretcher. So here is a higher low, right? Because this was where it took off for the buys on Friday, retested, took off to the high. So this is still a respectable higher low. And then obviously we already marked off our main support level. And then usually what I'll do as well, this would be kind of like a zone also. So we know 46,100 is like a key support structure, but we also understand that this area, like right around 46,122, is actually where price can just retest it today or tomorrow or whatever, and then just take off for the buys. So for tonight, what I want to see, or actually I guess I could say, let me rewind. What I want to see for this week, honestly, based off of like the news that's coming out and stuff like that, when I think about like the PMIs and everything, manufacturing that's coming out, let's see. It's really like The simple answer is I want to see a retest back to either 46,365 or I want to see a retest back to 46,000. All right, that's like my base analysis. If you come back to the high, I know I want to look for sales. If you come all the way back down here, I know I want to look for buys. So off default, that's really gonna be like our main two setups that we want this week. Flash manufacturing definitely can make that happen. I can see that pushing right here, and then just immediately just start taking off for buys again. So that's kind of like my first already. Actually, it's funny. Like that's really the main one for real, because I can really look for the retest here. Once it comes back to this zone, it don't gotta really come all the way to this. That's why I got rid of that price. But more so, if it comes back into this area, the moment US30 closes back out of this, I will look to take buys. And then my stop loss area will be like somewhere like right under that zone. I would just have to see like a nice rejection first, and then I would enter. Like some actually, ironically, yeah, to the left. It's like a full retest, a sell-off. You got your retest of the zone. This candlestick opens like a bullish engulfing candlestick, similar to like over here, like a strong bullish candlestick. And then if it comes like specifically like down in this area, because once it comes back out, that's like the official buy setup for sure. And then where would I take it to? We'll be back to, really I would want to take it back to the highs, but this is going to be the start to find out if it's going to start giving us lower high setups, right? So this will be kind of like my TP1, and I'm pretty sure this probably is around 1200 pips anyway. So this should be a good trade. It's 900 pips, so that's still calm though. And then the full retest will be a whopping 2,000 pips again. And the market's been giving out 2,000 pips, 200 points, like hotcakes over here on US30. I feel like Nas has been the one that's been more of a 1,200, 1,500 pip type of trade. But yeah, so this will be like the first main official move. So I look for buys, and then I look to take my first target back to 46,223. And then if you're like, oh, like why is he thinking that? Because this area can be a resistance, right? So this is still, as you can see to the left, this is that resistance level I talked about. For my academy students, this is the resistance level I talked about during FOMC. Broke out the stretcher, came back inside that same previous resistance zone, and then sold off. So if it comes back out of here, I'm gonna look for buys back to that same stretcher. And I'm not gonna be surprised if it starts to pull back or consolidate right here, because this is the high to keep our eyes on just to make sure. But if it does indeed break out of this zone, then we know we can take it back to the highs. So this is kind of like my trade idea number one for US30. I think I'm gonna actually download this so I don't forget. Or I guess I could just rewind the video. It don't matter. Trade number two would be what I would look for tonight. I don't really see it selling off. I see it just, to me, this is just looks like a Friday, took off for buys, hit main high, it sold off. And now I want to see through our London session, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a retest back to the high first, and then it sells off. There's been too many times. That's why I'm glad I traded like Tokyo session now. On Sundays too, might add, but not necessarily on US30, but more so on Nas. But it's been too many times where I've seen the setups that I want to see that should be happening during New York, they've been happening during London, right? So it's like, now I know what to look for. Like every Sunday night, you randomly take off for some crazy movements or a crazy buy. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find last week so I can show you. Am I tripping? Yes, I am tripping bad. Sunday. All right, so this was Friday. Boom. Here goes Sunday. My analysis last week, 9 times out of 10, I wanted to see the retest back to this high. So in the past, London would just be consolidating, and then during New York, it would make that retest. But as you can see here, Sunday night, look where it went. Sunday, created higher lows, took all the way off of the buys. London session to get you retest back to this previous high low stretcher. Now, ultimately, by the time you woke up, the market made its way. Actually, well, this was more choppy, so it gave you opportunity to get back up there eventually. But it made its way back to the side, and then it sold off. And this is still calm. If you entered off of the low right here, it's 1,200 pips for the night. And then you would have already been up 1,200 pips going into New York. And then New York, if you would have hit stop loss on your first to 100, and then you would have got back at it, taking the same entry that you took already during Tokyo or during London session. And then that's essentially what we're gonna be looking for here. So based off of that theory, I mean we should see if it come like up here, this could be a buy side that y'all could take for the night. I look for like a buy area like right here, back up into those highs. And then after that, or let's say like, oh, like I don't want to take the buy, say, hey, cool, because I'm not gonna really take it over here either. I'm gonna wait for this setup. I'll probably buy on my NAS, but I haven't looked at that yet. So once we get over there, I'll slide over there. But for US 30, the main move as of right now, Tokyo, London, we're at the zone. So we're gonna see buys, or I want to see buys up into this high, and back into this resistance area. And then I want to look for sales off of here. And it's gonna be essentially right back to the same low from today. So right now we're looking at this low. It's gonna end up being the area that we're gonna be looking for to take our buys. I mean, to take our sales back to, and then this could potentially be the same area that we look for to take our buys back to during New York tomorrow to see if it does break out for new highs. One or two things is gonna happen. It's either gonna be, if it's a downtrend, if it's the start of the bearish. I see right now on the poll it's 100% bearish right now. So if it's a downtrend, what we're gonna see is London. We're gonna see a retest of here, and this entry, we're never gonna see this entry slowly. It's gonna, well, not slowly, it's gonna sell off, and then it's gonna be like around opening bell, and we're gonna see US 30 be like slowly pulling back, and then there's gonna be a dump back to that previous support structure I just talked about, back at that 46 100 level, and then now you have a trade, and this is how I typically trade now too. I don't force swings. If the swings come, they do. But I take it back. My first TP target is always now back to the previous support structures. And now since I can leverage more now compared to back in the past, I don't really, that's the reason why I'm like, I can go for 2,000 pips, but I don't really need it for real. For me, the way I trade now, all I need is 300 pips, 500 pips. And that's crazy to say because that was just like TP1 and TP2 back in the day. And that's all I need. 500 pips, I'm done. But if I get a runner, so my first target, because I'm gonna take if I take the sales, I'm taking it back down to the structure again. That's just the range that we're seeing now. So if I got my first target at 1,000, right, but then it gives me a slight pullback, I'm still holding, and then it breaks down here. Now my 1,000 pip trade opportunity now turns into a 2,000 pip opportunity. But it just depends on how the market structure is looking. I can't say, oh, it's definitely gonna swing here, because I don't know until it actually gets here, right? So for now though, we can go based off of the previous data that we see. Previous resistance. So when they come here and they give us a close, it could be on the 15, it could be on the 5. My academy students, y'all know we use the 1 and the 5 cross confirmation sometimes. It just depends on how the market structure is looking. But this is gonna be the sell setup I'm gonna look to take. Stop loss is gonna be right above the highs. Even also, I'm gonna give you another things. If you're, let's say you're gonna be asleep, you're not gonna be trading London, and you're like, oh, I could just set a settlement right here at this resistance level. I wouldn't really recommend that because we don't know if there's a lot of people that have pending orders right here and the market can just manipulate first. So I would say if you're gonna do it, set your sell limit. Like I make that like my entry area just in case, because they can literally pump the market to make everybody get whipped out, and then all of a sudden price just grabs and comes right back inside and then take off. Liquidity grab. Literally, I don't even know why I said it like that, but if you do that, that's what you want to see. But if you're gonna be up and you're trading, you see that it just with the price and immediately starts selling off, then that's a whole nother icing on the cake, and then you know that you could just look for your sell-offs. But regardless, I'm gonna still just leave this as my entry that I want to look for. And if you are up, I guess in the same time, you can see that now. If you're up and you're seeing, like, oh, it's pushing there, momentum is looking strong. All right, cool. Dang, you're still pushing out the zone. Don't fall for the fake breakout. Let the market break out. Let it do its thing. Once it starts to close and sell back inside the zone, now you're confident and you can comfortably take the sell setup. And we're gonna let it take it right back to here. And then depending on if you want to be greedy or if you want to look for a swing opportunity, clear conscious, and you can take the buy opportunities if it go, and then vice versa if it doesn't. All right. I think that's it for US 30. I think that's it for your study. So Tokyo, you can take the bonds if you want, or you can just wait for the sell opportunities. And then also remember I gave y'all the buy setup off the bottom of the zone if we can get that setup down here as well. That's gonna be like the main two setups I'm gonna be looking for this evening on 30. And then the only reason why I didn't talk about like, oh, like if it break this zone, we could just take sales down here. It's just because this isn't really worth it just for me yet to kind of want to risk this because all right, I can make my stop loss up here, but this isn't really like isn't a quality entry, I would say. It's a certain level when I take my actually it's so funny I was thinking about this. I'm gonna talk about this in the academy. It's a certain level when I actually like to look for my zone breakout setups. I'm gonna get into that in a few. Well, I ain't gonna do it on this call, but later on I will in the academy. One of the trainings I do like when I take my zone breakouts versus when I don't take the zone breakout methods. All right, let's see. Let me make sure I mark this up first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and boom boom. Download this one for that. Well, really I should just copy the link, but it's cool. All right, next up we got NAS 100s. I was over here testing out this. I'm about to actually start looking into the that volume profile for real. Into that. All right. Nas is pretty simple, right? This pair is so buttery. It doesn't make no sense. Like very, very simple. I love when it's trending. As you can see, it's been trending for a minute now. Even I think I forgot. I can't remember the first time I first was really like bat testing and really looking at Nas. Nas, it was more so like when I first was looking at it, the first time I was like, dang. I remember I think it was in the summertime. I was looking at it like, dang, how did I not see how simple this pair was? It was always just a trending pair. It was always higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. And that's why like the zone breakout method always used to work so crazy for NAS 100 and SPS 500 because it was like, bro, like they both was doing the same thing. It's always when it came to zone breakouts, it was so simple to see because that's all it do. Like you can either enter out the higher low entry down here, or you can just simply wait for that zone to break out, look for the retest, and then look for the continuation. And then when you look over here on NAS, it's literally the same thing. The only difference with it now is with the zone breakouts. The zone breakouts, you gotta wait until like clear it broke out the zone, and then this was just a retest back to the main key higher low level before it just continued to break out the zone again for new highs and higher lows. But overall, like before I even get too deep in what I was about to get deep into, this pair loves fake breakouts, fake act like it's going for sell-offs, and then it just continues for the buys. So that's why like for this pair for me, I always think, okay, higher highs and higher lows. Where are the zones? Where are my key support levels for the day? Where's my areas that I'm paying attention to that NAS can come back to create another higher low and then just take off again for the buys? That's literally always my thought process. That's how I look at it. That's how I trade it. So sell-offs can happen, right? When a sell-off happens, when a crazy sell-off happens, that just lets me know that the bull run is about to be even stronger. Every time there's a strong sell, all it's doing for me is just retesting previous main field levels before it decides to continue for the direction of the uptrend. When I show y'all on the fibs, you can see here, it's standing for the buys, it sold off fast. And then what happened? Immediately hit the 78, rejected that price, and took off for the buy opportunity. If I come down here and show y'all this crazy massacre that happened on the 17th, when it was going back and forth, I bring the higher low, my fibs right here to here, came right to the 78 with it, shot the price action, closed, took off for the buys, and the rest was history. So when I'm looking for this week on NAS in particular, when we talk about flash manufacturing PMIs, when we talk about all the news that we just talked about earlier, I wouldn't be mad at seeing a retest back to the same stretcher again to take off for the buy. So this is kind of like my overall main analysis. Like if I get a nice bull entry down here, great. But I'm not really saying it's gonna sell off too because the way NAS be working, since it already broke out the previous zone structure, this was the previous high at the time, as you can see here. Nas will mess around and just retest this higher low, stretch it right here, and then just continue to go for new highs. So that's why I say like, oh, I don't really fall in love with the sell-offs because the sales might not even come. Like I'm not even gonna chase the sell back down to here, but instead I'm gonna wait till it really show its hand, show me that you're about to get ready to boom for the sales, and then I take the sales. But for right now, this would be a buy entry that I would be interested in taking buys off of this, and then I would take buys there, and I would just look the TP right at the top from lows back to highs. It's that simple. I don't need it to be 1,200 pips. I just really, my range is always really back to the highs. And then if it decides to go for more, then I adjust to 1,200 pips, 1,500 pips, 2,000 pips. And that's how I trade it. Now for tonight, it's kind of early still, but from what I'm seeing, this is where I really wanted to come to, but I'm gonna keep in mind that this might end up playing as a support structure. Just because you can see like this is technically the support as of right now. And then here we are kind of like seeing the market push up a little bit. I remember, was it Sunday or Monday? One of these previous, it was last week. I remember the range wasn't too good for me, so I didn't want to take it. And then it ended up taking off for like 2,000 pips on one day. And I was like, man, I could have just really just took that setup. So tonight we're gonna see for Tokyo. I'm gonna wait a little bit to probably like 9 or 10ish to see if this ends up playing that support. So we're gonna find out soon. So it's selling off a little bit right now. It's moving kind of slow. But if it retests here on this session, now it's the size to break out of this level and go for new highs. The only problem with taking trades off of a breakout as of now is the fact that you have no idea where the high is gonna be at. Right? You have no idea. We're at all-time highs. So we have to go based off of previous data to show us where the market is going. But how do you go off of data that isn't there yet? Right? So let's see. I don't think. So it'll either be here for the night or we're gonna be looking for here. But this one is really, I really want this one to be my main entry off of this down here. It'll be like a buy entry down here. And then stop would be under here. GA, yeah, I can do GA. Let's see. Is the connection good for y'all? Or is it like buffering? I just saw somebody else say that in the chat. If it's buffering, just take your like if you're watching like in 1080, take it down to like take your quality level down just to 1. And that should help. Cause sometimes it does it when it's they say they do it when it's like when it's trying to read so much what's the word? What is it called? I don't want to say data, but it could be data. Let me know. But yeah, for tonight, I'm thinking this. I want to see this, but we're gonna keep in mind if this plays as support, this should be a buy entry that I look at as well. But I'll still take it back to the high. And then if it does decide to go off for a runner, trailing's moving profit, and then we'll just keep going with it. And then my baby, I told y'all this week we about to get back to this one, Germany 40. Excuse me. I'm not even gonna delete everything just because I like everything is already set up. Friday, was it Friday or Thursday? No, yeah, Thursday on the call, I did exactly what we talked about as far as retesting to a T, dog. That's crazy. Retesting this higher low and then continuing for the buys back to that previous resistance structure. As you see, it kind of got up there, but then now it's like slowly making its way back down. So essentially, though, once again, it made it very simple. We're going to look for the same as that setup, which is going to be retest back to this previous higher low. And then we're going to look for that retest again back up into this high. Now, I do see though on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, like if I look at this, it's so crazy that this should be like, if it do sell off, this should be like the last pullback. because we already had, this was the main 4-hour from August that took off for these crazy buys. They came back here on Tuesday, consolidated, and then broke off of this back to this previous little high stretcher. So like we're in an area that would be a nice area to sell off at. Like if I show my fibs, I'm pretty, yep. Rejected the 78. It's coming back to the 61. So if it closed under this orange, if it closed under this zone, we can look to take sales off of this. And then essentially we can really take it back to here. And then we can take it back to here. These would be like my two areas, my two TP targets for those sell-offs. And then, how many pips would this be? Oh, that's calm. 1,200 pips, and that's 2,300. Yeah, that's perfect. And then for our buys, now that I see it for real, so this will be the sell setup, and let me actually, I need to take these vertical. Let me move this real quick. Where is that? 1 second, y'all. Get rid of both of those so we can have a clear screen. Them lines was tripping me out. All right, now I look way better. So we're gonna look for the buys. So this will be the sell setup. Stop loss will obviously be back above the zone because it should, once it break out, it should be smooth selling. And then TP1, TP2. Cool. Boom. Save that for later, put it on the site. And then vice versa for our buys, it's gonna be the opposite. So retest back to this higher low. Market fails to break out of this zone. We proceed to look for buy entries right at the stop loss. Essentially, right at where we are. Actually, I'll bring it up just for the sake of it. Right where we are right now, that's going to end up being our buy entry area. And then our stop loss, our hard stop loss will be right under this previous zone again. As it starts to get in profit, like as you're entering your trade, you can gradually move your stop loss up until you get to break even. So but at that point, by the time you're at break even, the market should be already smacking this first TP target at the top here. And then the second goal would be right here. And that should still be another 1,200 pips. And then, oh, this is 1,000 pips. So still cool. 1,000 pips. And then roughly 1,900, 2,000 pips, depending on when you actually enter. And this is another pair I'll say too, that's like a very like trendy pair. A pair that literally moves in one direction during New York and then move in the opposite direction during London. So it's a lot of opportunities for you to easily like just capitalize off of the trend, understanding that a pullback is coming, understanding that that pullback is going to be 800 to 1,000 pips, and then the next move will probably go for 2,000 pips because you're trading with the trend. Or you could be like, I don't really want to trade against the trend. I just want to trade with the trend. And if that's you, then cool. You would just patiently wait for your setups and then you execute. So like for me, if I was looking at Germany 40 at this time, let's say this was it wouldn't be there actually. I'm gonna move it. And of course, my fibs will be at the top of here. And then this would be my low. So for me, once it came to 78 and I saw this sell off right here, I will either already be in this trade. Oh, I just freaking remembered. I gotta do a training going over Germany 40 with the 1 minute time frame. Oh my gosh. The same way we traded with US 30, but like times 10. Perfect. So yeah, so this is just the 1 hour. So basically our entry on this will be up in here somewhere. So this will be the entry. You already will be up 800 pips, and then you will be looking to take it back to that previous higher low. I just got so excited because I really just had, I almost forgot about that. But your entry for the sales, you out to 78, you would have got a cross confirmation, and then you would have got that retest back to the higher low as we're seeing it sell off right now for 1,200 pips. So that way it kind of aligns with my analysis of a pullback can come because after 1,200 pips, usually there's some slight of pullback or some type of retest. And this buy entry will be that retest. So actually, I'm going to go ahead, instead of making this entry so high, I think I'm going to make the entry rate off of here just so we can have a more tighter entry, which should get you more in profit faster, as well as a tighter stop loss with a higher probability of not getting hit after the retest. So I want to see the retest back to this Once it confirms that it's our support on our lower time frames, I want to take it back to the highs. It doesn't even gotta be up here because obviously, as we just saw, the 1200 pip mark will be here, if I'm not mistaken. But remember what I said earlier, pips really don't matter. But still, 1200 pips here, and then if it continues to go, 2500. I'm glad I just remembered that. I'm glad I just remembered that. It's got to be fire. All right, so that's all of my indices. Thomas, he asked me about GA, so I'm gonna look at GA real quick. And then once I finish breaking on GA, remember if y'all got any questions, just let me know. Oh, I did perfect time on the call. All right, so GA, it's been a minute since I looked at currency pairs, bro. Ooh, this mother been selling. This would have been a same thing. Trending. Same thing I was talking about with Nas, like how I was selling off and trending. This would have been the same thing here. It's starting to, like, if I'm looking at it for real, we're at lows. So I will be interested in buys, but it will take a minute for me to look for buys just because it's been selling off for so long. So like overall, it's starting to trend. So it's starting to give us like our higher lows. Give us a double bottom here. If I drag my fist from here to here, we're in a buy area. But I would say like for tonight, let's say if you trade in GA tonight, I would say just because I remember the pip's not really that big over here. It's on the 4-hour time frame. I'm looking at this too. But once it really closed back above this zone, that will confirm that it's starting to go for the buys. So like I said, so this and it's really catching it early too. So we're gonna see. Well, you will let us know because I don't trade currencies no more, but let us know as it start to go for like the trend will be like this. Like it will, if it push back above here, hold on. Girl, stripping. If it push back above this zone, I would say like a break out of here. You can take a buys off of that breakout, or you can wait for this retest to create you a higher low. And this will be the buy entry that you want right around that 2.04548 area. And then you should be looking for the continuation back to here. These will be like your two levels, TP1, TP2. 50 pips, 90 pips. But if it is truly the start of the other reversals, we don't know. It's too early to really say that though. Because if it was, then I'll say, man, you can hold this mug all the way back up here. But we got to go based off of like where we at right now. So off of where we at right now, if it break out the zone, you can wait for the retest and then take buys back to this lower high structure right here or this one. And then if it continues for the downtrend though, because it could, delete this right quick. If it continues for the downtrend, this isn't really an area that I look forward to. I will wait for it to create its new lower low and then enter off of the next lower high. So we'll have to break this structure down here, retest the zone. Oops. After the retest to the zone, this is the area that I would look for to take my sell entries to the downside. Because it for sure still look like it might sell out though. It got some, but I also understand on the fibs. Cool, you here. You on my 61. But from a 4-hour standpoint, this is a strong 4-hour bearish engulfing. It's failed to close higher than this. It's losing momentum for the sell-offs. I wouldn't be surprised if it slightly pulled back and then boom, just tank off again. So that's kind of like my theory on here. But overall, this pair was doing numbers. Beautiful trending. Trending for sure. Slow trending I see. Because these 4-hour candlesticks that I'm looking at this on. So I can only imagine what it look like on like our the lower time frames. What's the range? How many pips is this? 50 pips. About 50 pips a day. 50 pips. And then I don't know if you peeped this too. See as well. For every 50 pips, there's a pullback. So it broke off for 50 pips, and then there's a slight pullback. It broke off for 60 pips here, really overextended itself, and then came to pullback and consolidation before the next move. So like if you shooting for more than 50 pips, just always set your TP, excuse me, at 50 pips, or if you trying to hold it, just know a pullback or some type of slow condition market is gonna come in. Let me see. Let's see if my theory is correct. This one took off for more though. Probably was news though. Let's see. Took off for 70. But even if I show 50, took off for 50, and the buy started slowly losing its momentum, and then they're gonna pull back. Took off for another 50. Why did I catch that so quick? Well, it took off for 80. Beautiful push, pull back. It's not bad. Anybody else got any questions for me? And my room then got super dark in here. I should have turned the light on. But is everybody good? And remember this week we doing live calls Tuesday. Every week is always Tuesday and Thursday, 9:15 a.m. And then Sundays, I'm gonna really just make a calendar on YouTube for the because every Sunday I do the free analysis for like everybody that follow me in general. That one is a little bit different. But the Sunday call will always be like you will always see the schedule. After this live, I'm gonna make sure the schedule is always there for the Sunday ones. That was literally a perfect hour. But the more I feel like once I start getting y'all to ask questions, once I start finally having those questions, comments, or concerns, that's when the call is gonna be going like 2 hours. But I'm chilling. No problem. No problem. I don't know if I ever go back to the currencies, man. I like it if it's moving. Like if I can get it to move, obviously I can't get it to do nothing. But if it's trending, find me a currency pair that's trending, and I'll make that like my I'll create a special savings account. Hold on, all right, bet. Put it up. Let me see what Nas doing real quick though while we waiting. See what I'm saying? I see you, bro. I would definitely refuse to take sales off the top. You're in a strong bullish market. You mess around and break out. He said zones at the end of the day close. You talking about for my indices or you just saying for like for GA? And usually my zones are, I don't even want to say at the end of the day close. It's just like whenever I see like the rejection, or like we can kind of say like what some people easy way for some people to remember is like Tokyo highs, Tokyo lows, or London highs or London lows. It's like for my indices, like when I share my indice pairs, it's always yeah, you can say that. Yeah, spot consolidation. It will always just be. I will always assume consolidation will be like if we talking about GA. Let me go back to it. I will always expect consolidation or like I would look for it to slow down. Kind of like what I said about those 50 pips, but also let me see. What's a good example? So like if I was looking at it from like left to right over here, it's already giving me like, okay, I got my supports down here. Boom. And then at the top we have lower highs right here. Boom. After it took off a buys down here, boom, it rejected. It retested again. It fake break. That's crazy though. Fake breakout. Took off for sales again. The third time it cut, I would readjust. I wouldn't even, this lower high wouldn't even be respected no more because it ended up breaking out this time. So once it broke out here, I would be expecting a full retest back up into this resistance level. The consolidation comes for on GA would it just depends on like the timing of the day, I would say. Like if I remember correctly, London session was good. And then I want to say Tokyo session is when it starts slowing down. It started moving a little bit during Tokyo though. Let me see. But what I'll say too though, like if you're using the fibs, you will know what consolidation is gonna come if you're looking like on our higher time frames, I'll say. So if I drop my fibs from here and then I come down to see it, like as we get into these levels, I'm like, all right, as they approach my 61 and 78, since it's a key price, I would expect some form of consolidation. And then since I'm being disciplined by waiting for the recess of the fibs, all this right here wouldn't even fake you out. Because you'd be waiting for your price to get tapped up here. All this, for me, this just looked like manipulation. So it took up for the, even though I would want to swing, it retested this higher low. If it fails to break here, you shouldn't be struggling to break this zone if you're ready to sell off. You should just be melting, AKA right here to the left. I mean, right here to the right. You see how like it sold off and it just dumped the market and actually broke? That's the volume that I want to see to really show me that you about to go for the downtrend. But if I see that, if I took an entry right here and I see this strong sell and then this bearish candlestick and then this candlestick starts to like wick, it starts to show that it's losing resistance, but this is a support, you're not breaking it, you're not ready to go for the swings. And then it came here again and then did the same thing. All right, I'm looking to take buys off of this. So like that way you're not falling for like, I'm not entering in the consolidation, I'm just waiting for my lows to get tapped or my highs. And in this scenario, the only way you could have saw this would have been, dang, the fibs work. The fibs work on any pair, bro. Find me a pair, I bet y'all figure it out. Like, hit 78, immediately tank. Did that answer your question though? The biggest I'll say, like without fibs and stuff, just mark your higher highs and your higher lows. Mark your zones. If it start consolidating, then you know that the trend is losing this momentum, and you should be looking for the opposite direction. So it's consolidating over here, and I was buying. It's starting to get weak all of a sudden, but it's going to be a sell-off coming. If it's starting to sell, if it's selling off crazy, then all of a sudden it starts consolidating, bet it should be a buy coming. We just gotta wait for the buys. That's the biggest thing. We gotta wait for it. But and oh yeah, let me know about tomorrow too. I'm still down for that as well. See what I tell you? I told y'all it was going. I'm not gonna take it yet. I'm telling y'all, man. This might end up playing a support. So London tonight, be on the lookout for 24,598. That might be it. Might be something right here. I want this, but it might be something right here at this price. We might see a retest back to this, and then this is gonna be the buy that we're gonna look for. The boom. All right, y'all. I have a meeting I need to get to. Somebody get ready to end this live. The video will still be on the site for y'all to rewatch it. And if you're on YouTube watching this, it'll still be on YouTube as well. Until next week. And then for my students, I'll catch y'all on Tuesday for the live trading session. Peace out.